that our leaders and our fellow Virginians should join in common cause, find common ground, and pursue common purpose. That is the concept at the heart of what it means to be a Commonwealth. And this is what it means to be united for Virginia's future.
Is your left hand on the Bible?
It was a historic day in Virginia as the first female governor was sworn in this afternoon. We have complete coverage on the 75th leader of the Commonwealth's vision for the state, how Virginians are feeling, and what initiatives Abigail Spanberger put into place as soon as she took the oath today. Spanberger got straight to work this afternoon signing executive orders. Our Cameron Thompson has more on how she says she's committed to putting Virginia first.
I, Abigail Davis Spanberger, do solemnly swear
with her hand on the Bible and her family by her side,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Abigail Spanberger utters 57 words on the steps of the state capitol.
So help me God.
Congratulations, God.
Thank you.
And at its conclusion becomes the 75th governor of Virginia.
The history and the gravity of this moment are not lost on me.
Spanberger then gave a speech that was part of reflection on the history of Virginia and the United States.
But I am heartfelt and heartened by the fact that so much of that work has been done right here, on these very steps and across this city.
And the significance of her ascension, becoming the first woman to hold this role. She thanked generations of women before her who had to fight to even get the right to vote.
But who could only dream of a day like today.
But then Spanberger turned her attention to the future, making a call for unity to find ways to address rising costs, stop gun violence, improve education, and much more.
Families are strained, kids are stressed, and so much just seems to be getting harder and harder.
Spanberger also promised to stand up to what she called the recklessness coming out of Washington and told, quote, law-abiding immigrant neighbors that she would focus on their safety and security as well.
Sowing fear across our communities, betraying the values of who we are as Americans, the very values that we celebrate here on these steps. Thank you so much for your time today.
A few hours later, she signed 9 executive orders aimed at addressing much of her speech, including directives to improve housing and health care costs and create a unified response to actions from the federal government. She also signed one calling for a review of how members are appointed to the boards of visitors for universities. Friday, news broke that Spanberger asked for and got the resignations of several UVA board members involved in the turnover of the school's president.
To make sure that we are putting the interests of students, faculty, our universities, and Virginia first.
She then signed a 10th order that undid one from her predecessor, former Governor Glenn Youngkin. Spanberger rescinding Executive Order 47 that directed state law enforcement to enter into an agreement with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE.
Virginia state and local law enforcement officers must be able to focus on their core responsibilities, investigating crime and community policing.
Now, the inauguration festivities will continue with an open house of the Executive Mansion on Sunday afternoon, and then on Monday, Governor Spanberger will address a joint session of the General Assembly. At the state capitol, Cameron Thompson, CBS 6 News.
And it was a packed house for Inauguration Day as hundreds gathered to witness the Democratic ticket be sworn in. Our AJ Nwoko gives those community members witnessing history a voice.
It was an inauguration for the books. And on Virginia's 75th chapter,
Abigail Spanberger is going to be in the history books.
A woman sits at the helm of the Commonwealth's top office. But women like Uva and Joanne say,
Day one,
2018.
They remember when Abigail Spanberger was just beginning her ascent.
Liberal women of Chesterfield County. And she came to one of our meetings and told us she was going to run. She hadn't actually declared yet.
And we decided to support her right from that point.
While folks like Wilbert Tiller says,
the atmosphere is wonderful. You know, I just woke up this morning and I said I want to be a part of something, so I came on out.
Though he could have been anywhere else Saturday, he wanted to witness firsthand Virginia's first-time Democratic ticket in Spanberger, Ghazala Hashmi, and Jay Jones as they officially assumed office. The impact of this moment not lost on Spanberger.
My fellow Virginians, as we set an example for the country and the world, and most importantly, for our children, let us choose to stand united.
Or the generations of young girls looking up to her.
Very excited.
Why is that?
Because she's the first female governor. The speeches just felt really important, and the dances and the music were just fun. So it's something that's going to get remembered for a while.
An opportunity these mothers say their daughters will only grow to appreciate as Spanberger ushers in the next chapter for the Commonwealth.
The inaugurated was very special. I was given one guest ticket, and my daughter was on the top of my list.
Abigail Spanberger capped off her inaugural speech, urging Virginians to be part of the change she hopes to enact. Top of the Virginians' minds that we spoke to: education, housing, and bringing people together. That'll do it for now here at the Capitol. AJ Nwoko, CBS 6 News.
As the inauguration festivities continue through the weekend, the inaugural ball was held tonight to close out the historic day. And as a cherry on top, a big name was there to join in on the celebration.
He wakes up in the morning, does his teeth bite to eat, and he's rolling. Now the changes are things.
That's right, musical legend Dave Matthews was there to hype up the crowd. Well-polished guests were served food, refreshments, and a great time. The event took place at the Richmond Main Street station around 8:15. And after sharing her first speech as governor, our CBS 6 political analyst Dr. Bob Halsworth and our Bill Fitzgerald discussed the big talking points on what Spanberger had to say today.
All right, I'm here with Dr. Bob. And Bob, in Abigail Spanberger's speech today, the 75th governor talked a lot about unity, about talking across the aisle. She talked, of course, about the campaign themes we had heard about affordability. But she also took aim at Washington. She didn't shy away from that. What did you hear today?
Yeah, not at all. I thought what she did was really, she had a lot of expectations being the first woman governor. I thought the speech, overall just knocked it out of the park. And what she did was that, by and large, she talked about those themes, but it wasn't just a laundry list. And then more importantly, I thought that she basically said that she felt that she needed to protect Virginia from some of the things that are taking place in Washington that are having the impact. She was very, very vivid about that. Said in Washington they're building, gilded buildings while schools might be crumbling here in Virginia, and that she was going to address that. And then secondly, she was very, very clear about that she was going to protect hardworking immigrants who are not doing anything criminally wrong.
That's right. She said providing our neighbors safety and security. Were you surprised that she would do that? Is that going to be provocative, do you think, across the Potomac?
Well, it might be, but I think what she's basically setting out in her first day is that she's going to be a strong and decisive governor. I thought her speech, where she kind of placed herself in the line of these Virginia trailblazers who took decisive action, whether it be Linwood Holton or whether it be Doug Wilder. By and large, she put herself sort of in the trail of those folks that I'm on their shoulders, and you can expect me to act like they acted. And I think maybe some of the people who didn't vote for her are not going to be happy with that, but I think those people who supported her and even others who are just curious about her are going to come away from this speech saying this is going to be a strong governor. And by and large, I think for most people, that speech was she just knocked it out of the park.
To see the full exchange between our CBS 6 political analyst Dr. Bob and our Bill Fitzgerald, you can visit our website, WTVR.com. From Jamestown to the Revolution to the governor's mansion, one door that had never opened finally has. Still to come, our Janine Samuels takes us inside the Virginia Museum of History and Culture to trace the trailblazers, the timing, and the powerful message behind young girls witnessing their first female governor. In a state that helped write America's first chapters, a new one is being added, shaped by the voices of women past and present. Our Janine Samuels shares how even though the Old Dominion is centuries old, its future just became something entirely new.
There's no American history without Virginia history. Just about any big moment in our national story, we have a Virginia story to talk about as well. Governor Wilder wore these boots.
Maggie Creech, the director of history education at the Virginia Museum of History and Culture, says the Commonwealth was a union of first. First at independence, first at leadership, first to adopt the Constitution. And yet, for 250 years, one first remained.
Virginia is behind in that statistic. Many other states have elected female governors.
The governor's mansion has always been a gentleman's club.
Your mom's going to be the governor of Virginia.
Until now.
I can guarantee those words have never been spoken in Virginia ever before.
Those words extend far beyond one family. They echo through generations of women who dared to run before winning was possible, who organized when they couldn't yet vote, who taught, protested, built, and believed.
And I thank those who have come before me, and Mary Sue Terry in particular.
A previous woman who ran for governor, she did not win, but she did give that wonderful speech where she mentioned that she felt certain that the next female governor of Virginia, or the first female governor of Virginia, was watching that night during her concession speech.
From suffragists demanding the ballot to Barbara Johns challenging school segregation as a teenager.
Through their bravery and through their willingness to take a stand, they changed the history of education in the United States forever.
History isn't a solo race. It's a baton passed from one generation to the next. This handoff changes everything.
When we think about young girls seeing a female governor, that's going to show them that's a job that can be done by women.
For Governor Spanberger, being first means carrying history and shaping the future.
I will work so hard to ensure that every example I set is one of steadiness, is one of clear-eyed decision-making, is one of clarity of communication. And ideally, I will leave this post in 4 years, having done good work, having delivered as much as I possibly can for the betterment of Virginia.
I, Abigail Davis Spanberger.
Under winter skies, the gavel of history fell.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Governor.
Thank you.
And the glass ceiling finally cracked.
Today, I stand before you on these steps not only as Virginia's 75th governor, but as someone who believes it is our duty to write the next chapter of our Commonwealth story.
Abigail Spanberger, the 75th governor of Virginia, taking office with two others who made history. Lieutenant Governor Ghazala Hashmi, the first Muslim woman elected to a statewide office in U.S. history, and Attorney General Jay Jones, Virginia's first Black Attorney General. This moment will live far beyond politics.
We give a lot of tours through our galleries to elementary school students and middle school students. We want our students to see themselves here in our museum and in our Commonwealth, and her story is going to make that more possible.
For CBS 6, I'm Janine Samuels.